In this video, we're going to cover Chapter 9, which is roof plans and how to read the roof plans and what information you will see in roof plans. And this is Chapter 9. We're going to cover where or which drawings contain information about roofs, the different styles of roof that you can use, and these are going to depend on the style or the style you want to give to the house, or the look you want to give to the house or the structure. And also, it might affect the region where you're building your structure. Some roofing materials, and then what is it that you're going to see on your roof plan. I'm going to try to make this video not as lengthy, so it'll be easier, just like an intro to the chapter. So it starts saying, if you, this is your book. It starts going over the type of plans in which you could find information about the roof. And the first one, not necessarily, but in some you might find information about the roof on the floor plan. And let me just go through. There's an image right here in your book, which this is a floor plan, but if you see here in a different color, it gives information about some members on the roof. For example, it talks about some trusses. Okay, oops, right there. Trusses, a girdle. So, and in the floor plan, not always, but you might find information about the roof. Okay, again, this is especially if you're doing something very specific. You might find information about your roof on the floor plan. Again, this is not as common, but it is possible. Okay, again, especially when you're doing something special, maybe some loads that you need to have for the roof, or you're doing something in the attic, or where the roof itself, or in the interior of the house. You want to maybe have the beams exposed, or you were doing something with the design, then you might want to clarify that, and you could do it on the floor plan. So on the floor plan, you can find information about your roof, and you can see it here in this page. Okay. Now, where else? Of course, on your elevation. And the elevation is just the image. And let me bring an image that I have somewhere, so it'll be maybe easier for us to see it. Let me bring this in. There we go. See, I brought this in because the other way it's sideways. You can see it on your book, but it's easier to see it here. This is your front elevation. This is a house that I Googled. So you can find information about the roof on the elevation. Okay, the elevation, you can find information all the way from the grade all the way to the roof in regards of heights, window heights, materials, doors, roof materials, roof pitches, tops of plates, and so on and so forth. So you could also find information about the roof on the elevations. Okay, and the typical information you're going to find about your roof is going to be, one, the material. Okay, here's hard to read, but here's could be shingles, it could be wood shakes, it could be metal, it could be clay tile roof. Whichever material you want to use, you can find that information also here on the elevation. Not necessarily just here, but it could be added also to your elevation. Some plans you will find like type of height, the height of the eave. Most of them you will have the plate height, which is that one, the top of plate. How high is the plate height in different, if you have different heights. For example, on this elevation, we have a plate height here for this garage area, and then another plate height right here for the entry, and then we have another plate height here for the second floor. And I mean, I'm talking about the roof on the second floor, the roof on your entry, and the roof on your garage. And I'm going to explain this in more detail when I bring out another drawing that I want to show you. But you can find information about the roof on the elevations, and that's the type of roof you're going to find. Also, you can find the pitch of the roof. Okay, it's always going to be a 12, and here it's hard to see, but again, if you Google or you look at the book, you'll see it. It's always 12 by a number. Okay, so what that means is 12 by, if this number is, that's going to give us the angle of the roof, the pitch of the roof. Okay, so it's always 12. If it's 12.1, then the pitch is going to be very low. If it's 12, I don't know, 12.4, it's gonna pick a little more. If it's 12.12, well, that's gonna be at 45. Okay, so it's gonna start picking up as this number gets bigger. It's always gonna be 12, 12 by something. Okay, the lower the number, the lower the pitch. The higher the number, the steeper it's gonna get. Okay, so that information about the actual pitch, you're gonna find in the elevation. You might find a note also on the roof plan or on the general notes on the plan, the roof plan, but you can also find that information here. Okay, so you can find information about the plate heights, pitch of the roof, and materials. Here you might also find information, for example, about um, the fascia and some other details you might find. Maybe you have like a vent. You can show it here. You have a vent right there. Um, dormers, if you have dormers. So that information you also can find it on the elevations. Okay, so information about the roof is not only on the roof plan. You can find it in floor plans. You can also find more information or some information on the um, elevations. All right. So in the elevation here, and again in the book it's a lot clearer to see. But if you look at this image, it tells you like it's into different color. The information you might find, which is the type of the material of the roof, the pitch, the heights, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you could find that information also on the elevation. Okay, now this is a wall section or a building section. I'm sorry, this is a building section. What a building section is basically you just make a cut through the building, and whatever you were to cut or slice it, open it up, and then look at it one direction, and whatever you see is what it's there. So you'll find more detailed information on a building section. You can find the actual information about each member of the roof. Okay, how it's supported, how the weight is coming down and it's going down to the walls. Okay, how is that? How are you supporting your roof? So on the building section, you're gonna find more detailed information about the construction of your structure, including your roof. Okay, and then more detailed information. For example, here's hard to see because it's upside down, but also maybe the material of the roof, the underlayment, the type, the size of the members, the name of the members. So that information you could find also in a building section. Okay, so again, not only you find information on the roof plan, you can find information about the roof in your floor plan, elevations, and also on your building section. Okay, I don't know, we have, let me bring another image that I want to show you. And this is a little bit different. This is not necessarily a building section, but I wanted to bring this in so you can see a typical, okay, this is a gable roof, a typical roof, and the members that make it, or that you need to make the roof. This is a plate height. Okay, so this is the height of the wall, and then so this is considered the plate height. On the first image that I showed you, let me see if I can bring it back. This one. See, we have a plate height right here, so that means this wall goes up to there. This wall goes only up to here, and this one goes all the way up here. So by plate height, if you see right here, if it's hard to read, but it's 11 plate height. This is 9 plate height. This is seems like 19 feet 4 inches plate height. What that means is the height from the bottom of the wall to this double plate. Okay, that's what goes all around. Now this could be, like I showed you on the other image, could be some areas of the house might be at one certain height, and some other areas of the house might have a different height. But when it talks about plate height, this is what it's talking about. So these are the walls. These are your studs, right? And then on top you have two 2x4s or 2x6, depends on what you're doing. And that's going to be your plate height. Now this is where the roof members rest. Okay, these right here are called rafters. Yeah, right there. Okay, these are the rafters. They come down and they sit on top of the top plate. Okay, that takes the weight down through the studs all the way to the foundation. Okay, so these are the rafters, and you see them here, you see them that way. Now, how do they sit? If you notice here, they make a little cut, bird's mouth, that's what they call it, so that it sits on it. You can see it right there. They make a little cut, so it sits, and then gets nailed, and then it gets hooked with some like a plate thing that goes there too. So that's how you can create the structure of your roof with using rafters. And again, we're talking about this is a gable roof. You can do it with hip. You can do it with actually all of them. Well, maybe except or it's going to vary for your flat roofs. It's a different system, a little bit different. So these are your rafters. Now these right here, those are going to be your joists, ceiling joists. Okay, they go across. They sit right next, or they're right next to the rafter, and they sit on top of the plate. Okay, now here, this could vary. Here, if you want a vaulted ceiling, then if you want the ceiling to go all the way up, open, then you won't have any joists. Okay, you'll be able to see, well, not see the rafters, of course. You can have some shade right there, but you can see all the way to the top. If you have the joists, then here's where you can rest, or you can make something with your ceilings. The sheetrock is going to be here at the bottom. It might be a flat roof, a flat ceiling. I'm sorry. So those are going to be your joists. Okay, and then the ridge is the highest point. Okay, that's what's holding, let's say, and this puzzle, you want to see it like that, and that's the ridge. So the highest parts of your structure, they're going to be the ridges. And I'm going to show you a picture of an actual houses, so it makes more sense. Okay, so this type of information you will find on your where is it? On your I think I closed it. On your building section. Okay, just here that it's more no, it's more it's like a 3D view, so it's easier to see. But this type of information, the members and the size of the members and all that, you're gonna find that in the building section. Okay, well, that's a detail. All right. So you can again, just to recap, you can find information about your roof. You can add information that pertains to the roof on your floor plan. You can also find it on the elevations. You can also find them on your building sections. Okay, and then this is an actual roof plan. Okay, this is an actual roof plan. The best way to see it or to try to understand this is by imagining you fly up in the air and you're looking straight down to the house. Okay, or the structure, whatever it might be. Now this is a hip roof. I guess this is the most typical one, either hip or gable or a combination of both. Those are the typical ones. And for your assignment, I'm going to ask you to do either hip or gable or both. But this is the type of roof. Very simple. So this is how you would see it. Now, this hidden line that you see right there, that represents your building or the outermost wall. Okay. So as this one. Okay. Just by seeing this, we can assume and we know it's two floor. It's well, it also says here line of lower roof, line of upper roof. So we have it's a 2-story home. So this roof is under and this one sits on top. Okay, just by seeing it, how this one ends up right there, how that one ends there, and how you can this one dies right there at the wall. This one comes up and dies at the wall. It means that this one's lower than this part. Okay, so this section, it's lower and this one is on top. And I'll show you a picture to clarify this. Now here is where you can find also information about the roof. If you have any vents, you will show them here. You will show where your exterior wall is at. You will show any downspouts, any drainage, any gutters that you might have. Here is where you draw them. When you're doing a flat roof, here's where you show the pitch on that flat roof. You will show the parapets. You will see the scuppers if you have some parapets to drain the water. And this is one thing you have to think about on the roof plan or the roof. It's to protect from the elements, of course, and also and one of them it's water. You don't want the water to accumulate in your roof. If it does, then you have a lot of issues. So when you do designing your roof plan, you have to think about how do I get the water out of my roof as soon as possible. Okay, and again, this could vary also in the region where you're trying to build. So just keep those things in mind when you're designing your roof plan. But going back to this one, okay, so here we have, there's three things that I want you to look at, uh, that I want you to understand and picture. One of them is going to be ridges, hips, and valleys. Ridges, hips, and valleys. Okay, so ridges, like I told you on the on this one. Which one? This one. Did it open? No. There you go. See, these are the ridges. Okay, so as you can see here on this, these are the highest points of the structure. Okay, so if we go back to this one, these straight lines there, there, that small one there, that one right there, that small one there, that one, and that one. Those are, and that one right there too. Those are the ridges. Okay, and I'm going to show you how so you get it better to understand. So the highest points are going to be the ridges. Okay, if we go back to the elevation, that's a ridge. See how it goes up and then you have flat on top? That's a ridge. This one, it's going back, but we don't see it. That will be a ridge. That point right there that we'll see it from the side is going back. That's also a ridge. Let's see this one. That's the one. Okay, and this one, like, that's a ridge, that's a ridge, 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 and then that one going back, a ridge, that one going back, a ridge. Okay, so we need to know where the ridges are. That's why this one is, you have some ridges there at the highest points, and it has a note here, typical ridge vents. So it has some vents. Usually you want to have those vents on top, either like this, or they have the actual ridge vent that goes on top. I'm pretty sure you have seen them. That's for the circulation of air. Here on the soffit, you might also have some vents, right? So the air is going to go through the vents. The house is going to breathe and go out through this ridge vents. So you want to have air circulation in your roof, okay? So, especially in humid areas. Okay, so then ridges, 2, hips. This right here, it's a hip. Wherever you have a line and it meets out, and the line goes in, that's considered a hip. And I'll show you a picture that's going to make more sense. Wherever they meet into the house, see how this line is coming in to the right, this one is going up, they meet and then they go up. This is it's considered a valley. The easiest way to see it is, once you start picturing this, when it rains, if the water goes where the water goes through, that's considered a valley. So the water is going to go through here, that's a valley. The water is going to go through there and through there, that's a valley. Okay, those seem to be valleys right there. That's a valley, that's a valley, that's a valley, that's a valley. And like this one is a hip. They meet up, hip, 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 and hip. So whenever the roof meets up, it's a hip. Whenever they meet down, it's a valley. And I'm going to show you a picture, an actual picture of a house. That's going to make more sense. Now, at the beginning, don't get frustrated if it's hard for you to understand and picture the roof. It takes time. Okay, it takes time. So just it takes practice. The best thing to do, what helped me, was to, when it was hard for me to understand, is to just drive around, look at some houses. Now the advantage that we have Google Maps. Go on Google Maps, look straight down on some houses, so you can get an idea and for you to understand how the roof connects and so on and so forth. Okay. So you can find information about your roof on the roof plan, of course. Now, also on a framing plan. Now this is going to be not very typical to have a framing plan, a roof framing plan. This one, it shows you everything exactly how it's going to connect, where every member is going to be at, and this is not, I guess, typical unless you're doing something more very specific, or if you want to know exactly how much material you will need. If you're very you need to have an exact number of for your budget purposes, then a framing roof plan might be helpful. That way you know exactly how many members you need, how much wood you need, or material, so you can be very specific to it. So this you can see this is a framing plan, a roof plan framing plan. So basically what it is just every member that I showed you on this one, every member, you will see it on that plan. Okay, so every member you will see it there on the plan. Well, that wasn't that one. It was this one. Okay, so you'll find information here also about the roof. Now, so it's a lot of information. Let me stop the video here, and then I'll do a second video.